Today we're going to look at building apps with Hyperapp using Slingcode. Hyperapp is like a more minimal version of React. It does the same thing, create declarative user interfaces. What I really like about Hyperapp is how simple it is. Instead of using the object-oriented class declarations of React, it uses function definitions. And instead of JSX, you just have normal JavaScript function calls. So it makes for a very simple way of building UIs, as I'll show you. So the first thing you can do is go to, if you want to follow along, go to slingcode.net, and then in the top right-hand corner, go to try it. Once you're in the main app here, you can say new app. Hang on. Once you get in here, you can click plus and say new app. And then you get this basic blank workspace. So this basic blank project. So let's save that one and say, you can save by Control S or Command S and then say run the code next to the tab. And so we just get this very simple hello world. That's the text here, hello world. So now to get started with Hyperapp, you can search for Hyperapp on Google and it will bring up, or whatever search engine you use, DuckDuckGo, and it'll bring up the Hyperapp GitHub page. And then we're just going to scroll down here and they've got this example to get you started with just in the browser, like what we do with Slingcode. So we're just going to select all of that and paste it in here over the top of the existing file. And then let's save that and we see it update. So what is this first app? It's really just a simple to-do list. So we could say hello here, and that adds a new to-do item and say thingo, and that adds another one. We can keep doing that. So as we add them, they come in here. Let's take a quick look at how this works. So first of all, here what's happening is the Hyperapp script, the library is being imported, and some elements from the namespace are being imported here. So you've got an H tag text app. So we've got a couple of functions here, add to do and new value. But let's take a look at the most interesting bit here, which is the actual rendering. So Hyperapp uses Hyperscript under the hood, and Hyperscript does this declarative style. So this is the equivalent of an HTML tag, which would look like this. So main. So that's all that this H call here is doing. So it's just saying, using JavaScript to declare the HTML structure. But to me, that's much cleaner and easier to understand and than JSX. It's just pure JavaScript. So now for events, you've got this input here, and you've got this onInput event in the input tag. And every time you update this, it changes the current value. So the value in the state. So that's fairly simple. It's just taking the event target value, so whatever's in this box, and setting the state.value to that. You can see here they've used their ES6 syntax to pre-populate the this associative array here with the value of state that's already in there. Then when you click the button add to do, it adds another to do, and that happens by running this function add to do. So as you can see, these are all just plain functions. You've got the app function here, and that's passed an object, and this object has init, which is the initial state, and view, which is a function which updates the state basically. And node is where you want it to get mounted, so where to mount the app. But so when you click on add to do, what happens is it calls this function here, add to do, and all this does is update the state with the current value, state.value. So the loop goes like this. As you type in this box, the input is updated with the new value function. So we're taking the event.target.value and setting state.value to that. And then when you click add, it takes state.value and concatenates that to the array of to-dos. And then finally, to display this list of to-dos here, you've just got this declaratively rendered UL tag, and it does a map over the to-dos array, and it's just creating these LI elements. So that'll create a UL with LI elements within it to display it. Now, if we want to tinker around with this a little bit, the first thing I'd probably do is use my minimal style sheet project just to make it look a little bit less not great. So let's select that stuff and go back over here, and we're going to dump that into the head. So all this is doing is adding a bit of CSS. If we hit save, it should load the minimal style sheet over the top of that. We haven't put the HTTPS in the front of this, and because we're in Slingcode, it's loading it without the HTTPS. Oh, hang on. Don't know why that's not working, but anyway, it is now. So you can see it's just got a little bit of a nicer style. So we say hello, that adds a new item. Now, the other thing I'd probably do is add a couple more styles here. So just to make it look a little bit less crunched up in the corner there. So let's go text align center. And let's add some margins around the actual list there. And we'll align everything back to the left because we've set that to the center above. And let's save that one. Okay, so now it's a bit more centered, just looks a bit better as a UI. And probably want to make this, let's wrap this input and button here in a div tag. So we can add this new div tag. It's got no attributes. So the way that the H function works is you pass it the name of the tag, then the attributes you want on that tag, and then an array with the elements you want in it. Or you can just pass an element directly. So what we're going to do is put those in an array, and that'll separate them so that they'll be on a new line. So now our top bit of the UI is here and our list is here. Yeah, so it's pretty simple to write these apps with Hyperapp. It's a very minimal language. It reminds me a lot of Mithril.js, but sort of more in the ES6 style because Mithril has been around for quite a while, since before ES6. Another thing we might want to do here is add if you click on the LI at the moment, there's no way to remove items. So let's just quickly bang in a bit of functionality there for removing items. So on click, and we'll say remove to do, whoops. And then we'll just create a new function here called remove to do. And all we're going to do is we'll keep the existing state, and the only thing we're going to modify is the to-dos. We want to update them so that we filter out the to-dos, the to-do that was clicked on. So let's filter on that, and we're going to say something like a function with t is not equal to event.target.text content. So what this is going to do is loop through all the to-dos each time, and the one that was clicked on, it's going to take a look at the text content of that tag, so the actual thing written there, and if the current to-do that it's looking at has that same text, then don't add it because we want to delete it. So let's save this, and hello, oops, okay, what's bugging my code? Let's pull up a little bit of a console here and see what's gone wrong. Remove to-do is not defined because I misspelled it. So we can add a couple of things here. Okay, so now when we click on goodbye, it should disappear. And a side effect of checking just the text is that if you click on hello, it'll remove both of them. So you could add a UUID to each LI element and do it that way. So you just delete the actual one that you clicked on. Or else you could do it by splicing the index of the array to get out the one that you clicked on. But yeah, so that's Hyperapp. It's a very concise little library that's great for writing user interfaces. I hope that's useful to you. Cheers.